Hey everybody, it's Mitch. It's kind of interesting in the one of the xTool forums today. A gentleman asked a question about trying to minimize the amount of cuts on a series of objects, mainly rectangles. I'm like, I think I know how to do this. I thought I was playing around with some of the new features in XCS 2.0, and I think I found out how to do it. So, to kind of give you an example of what we're talking about, I've got a rectangle here, and I want to duplicate that. So they're side by side and they pretty much share a common line. The problem is when you go to actually process this, if we work through the simulator, and actually I need to back up there because I don't have my material selected, so 3mm basswood, I'm on a triangular prism, there you go. Now when I go to process it, I can process it. And if we turn the simulator, if you've never done this little play button here will actually show you the path of the laser. Square, square. And the problem with this is that last cut is unnecessary because we've already got a line here. So I just did a little bit of experimentation and I figured out how to make this work. So I'm going to do two experiments here just so you can see what's happening. And we'll do it in the simulator, and then I'll go out at the end and I'll actually do it on the laser so you can see how it actually cuts if you didn't believe me. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I've got my box selected. Let me make it, say, 40 millimeters wide. Actually, doesn't really matter. Okay, so we got a square. So I'm going to go to my apps. I'm going to say I want a grid array. I'm going to make it one row, and I'm going to have 0 spacing in the X and the Y. And let's make this 3. So 3 columns. Okay, now the 3 columns, as you can see, are really pretty good. The sheet looks like they share a line, so let's go process this and watch again. Box, box. Okay, again, we've got 2 extra cuts we do not need. So let's try to fix this. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. And I am going to select all of these. Then I'm going to click this button here that says Make Compound Vector. So what this will do is it will turn it from a rectangle into a vector object, which is slightly different than a rectangle. Even though a rectangle is made out of 4 vectors, it's still considered a little bit different inside the software. So what this is going to do is going to go from 1 thing to 4 things technically. Okay, so now, and sorry, I didn't point out, we had it when we created that grid array, it automatically grouped the rectangles together. Okay, so now that we have this as a series of objects, of vectors, I'm going to edit this. So click the edit button, and then I'm going to click the scissor button, and I'm just going to hold it over one till one of these changes color. And I'm going to click on it and it's going to delete it. Didn't look like it did much, but it did. Same here. And let me zoom in so you can see the color change. Now, it's very hard to see. Let me zoom in further. Okay. It changes to that teal color for selection, and I just hit the scissor and it actually removed it. Okay, again, it didn't look like it did, but it did. And then I'm done, so click the done button. Now when I go to process it, watch what happens. Makes a box, makes a 3-sided box, makes another 3-sided box. So we removed 2 of the vertical cuts. And I think that last trick from here to there, I think that was just moving the head. I don't think that was actually cutting. Okay. So that's how we do that. And again, this really just works if you're trying to create like things like this that have a shared border so that you don't have to cut that. So let's go and just run it out in the shop and see what happens. So process, click start, then I'll go out and I'll come back whenever, I'll just take care of it out there. So there we go. Okay, so we're out here in the garage where my laser is, and I forgot to mention this is I'm just going to do a scoring operation on this, not going to do a cut because it's the same purpose, so I'm actually having to cut this quicker. So everything's ready to go. I think I should be able to catch the laser good from here. I'm going to press the go button, and let's watch the head move. Full rectangle, 3-sided rectangle,
Three-sided rectangle. So there you go. And again, this is really handy if you have repeated parts or you're trying to get as much out of the material as possible. And again, it just saves you a cut, which is really just going to save you a little bit of time. And it's also, you don't want to have it, scoring lines or cutting lines on your substrate there. But this is a really handy thing. I wasn't sure I could do it, but it actually worked out pretty well. So if anybody has any comments or anything, just to let me know, and we'll come up with more tips and tricks. Thanks, everybody.